So landing in Perth with a working holiday visa and you're trying to break into the mining industry with zero experience. These are the exact steps I would take in 2025 to land that first job in FIFO in Western Australia. Quick note before we kick into it, guys, I'm not currently working in the industry. I don't own a mine site or work in HR. I run a winter tourism business in Miyako, Japan. Been doing that for a good 5 or 6 years now. So yeah, I'm out of the industry right now, so I can't actually physically offer you a job. I get quite a few people asking, take me on, I want you to take me, hire me of this job. I can't do that. This is just the steps I took in order to get a job within the mining industry. And hopefully you guys get some, some insight, things that will help you in your journey trying to get into the FIFO industry. Okay, with that said, let's jump straight into it. Quick note before we get into it, you must have working rights in Australia before we even kick it off. I get quite a few questions around how do I get a visa. Look, I'm no visa expert, especially when it comes to working legally in Australia. You must have a working holiday visa and be eligible to work in Australia. It's great for Kiwis. We can come and go between Australia and New Zealand, no dramas. It's fairly easy for most countries to get a working holiday visa. Sponsorship visas are achievable, but they're not super easy. So like I said, must have that working holiday visa before you start looking to apply for these sort of jobs. So week one in Australia, first things that you should get in order to put your best foot forward for landing the first job. Now I've mentioned this in another video, but I'm going to mention it again. So the minute you land, basically the next day or within the next day or two, start organising your TFN, your tax file number. This is fairly straightforward to apply online and go from there. Then you'll want to open a bank account. Now start with either, usually the big four, Westpac, ANZ, NAB, one of these sort of big banks. Get that organised. This can take a day or two to get that squared up. Fairly straightforward as long as you have that visa. Get both of those squared away. Also open a super account. They'll probably ask you about this at the bank. Start with any sort of super account. Now this is the retirement savings in Australia. I didn't mention that clearly. The other one, get a few questions around what is super. So super is basically your retirement savings account in Australia, and it is fantastic. Don't overlook this. Currently right now, legally, any employer in Australia has to pay 11% of your total wage into your super. So it is massive in Australia. So definitely do a bit of research around that. Look, there's different number ones you can. Host Plus would probably be a good place to start, but look at a few different ones. If you don't have one, the employer will put you into one that they're probably affiliated with. So look into this a little bit. You'll also want to get an Australian SIM card or some sort of a number. Definitely get an Australian card. Don't try and pair it back to WhatsApp or something in your home country. Get that Australian SIM card. Sign up to Telstra. Telstra is a great one to work on site. If you start going to a Vodafone or some of these other ones, the reception may be a little patchy at site, so definitely I recommend Telstra. It's going to cost you around $35, $40 a month. Should be enough to get you going. And white card. Now you can apply for these white card. It's basic construction card. It's a one-day course. Fairly affordable. Definitely, if you're going to get a ticket, that would be my highly recommend getting that white card ticket. Also, maybe depending on the role you're looking at, maybe look at getting a police clearance, especially if you're coming over from New Zealand or maybe coming from interstate. Maybe you already live in Australia, but you're looking to get into the mining industry. Definitely get that police clearance. Depending on the role you're looking for, it definitely helps as well. Fairly straightforward to get as well. So you'll also need to set up a base or before you land that job. Good place to start looking around is living right in the city itself, maybe at youth hostels or backpackers, these sort of things. You'll also probably meet other people that are maybe working in the industry or looking at trying to get into the industry. So start talking to these, start networking with people that are already living or working in the mining sector. Great place to start is these sort of, youth hostels or shared homes or things in and around the centre of Perth. So good place to start. Give yourself at least 4 to 8 weeks living expenses. So that's food, accommodation, transport, all the whole thing. Australia is quite expensive. So yeah, I'd say anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 should get you going, depending on how long it takes you to land that job. You may have to take on another job before you actually land that FIFO job as well. So just sort of give yourself a base budget there. Right, so that's your first week out of the way. You've got all that. Don't wait a week. Get all those tickets and all your TFN and everything lined up pretty much the day you arrive. Get that squared away, straight away. Then you can start looking at starting to apply for jobs when you've got all this. I wouldn't worry about applying until you've got a TFN, until you've got a bank account, until you've got Australian phone number, till you have that white card. All key things that you'll need for working in the industry. So definitely get those squared away as soon as possible, prior one. Now you could start looking at getting other tickets. Now you don't want to collect these like you're trying to collect all the Pokemon under the world. Start with the ones that you can afford, or depending on what role you're sort of maybe looking at getting into. Like I said, the white card's a pretty good one, the white card induction card. Start with that one. Like I said, police clearance is also handy. Having a full driver's license is good as well. If you got restricted, you might be able to still on the camp itself, not on site. But yeah, definitely having that full driver's license as well helps. If you're looking at more getting into the TA role or something along those lines, definitely start looking at those working at heights and confined spaces and basic scaffolding and rigging and dogging. But if you're just going for more like a utility role, working in the camp itself, which is what I did for a number of years, you don't need any of those high risk licenses. So I mean, if you want to do that in the future, then maybe, yeah, once you start earning a bit of money, start reinvesting back into those courses. But initially, I wouldn't worry too much about getting all those courses, especially if they're not relevant for the role that you're looking at going for. Now, if you're looking at just going for utility, it's not going to really strengthen your application, whether you've got working at heights and all these other tickets. But if you are going for a TA role or sort of a labourer, driller's offsider, definitely maybe start looking at getting these tickets. Basic rigging, dogging, your HR licence, number of these different things will help. But if you're just going for a basic utility role, it's not really going to strengthen your case, to be honest. So save your money, unless you really want to keep just upskilling and go for those other jobs. Then maybe start looking at those. But yeah, definitely not going to put you at the top of the pile if you've got all these different tickets. More tickets doesn't mean guaranteed job. So definitely early days, I'd start with maybe that white card, a couple other ones, yeah, maybe you're working at heights or something like that, but they all cost a bit of money and they take time to get, and could take you a couple of weeks. Just initially, get that white card, you can get that fairly straightforward. Maybe RSA as well, that's fairly straightforward. You can do most of that online these days, so probably those would be your couple of tickets, especially if you're going for that utility role. So your gateway roles or your entry-level roles are like the utility, your trades assistant, your driller's offsider, these sort of roles. Like I said, you're not going to need all the tickets under the sun for this, so just start with the basics and then work your way up from there. And lean into your background now. Let's say you've got a background in hospitality, or you worked at a restaurant or worked in the dishes or whatever you may did. Lean back onto that quite heavily when you're making the application, okay? So say, yep, I worked in a busy restaurant, I was out the back running tables, or do whatever you're doing. Put that in your resume, it'll help, especially if you're going for a utility role and you wanted to work in the kitchen or housekeeping or whatever it may be, that work in the camp, you're a caretaker or whatever it may be. Definitely put all that into the application and favour your application to lean on that experience that you already have. So that should take away the first couple of weeks of your time in Australia. Now week 3, start networking. Like I said earlier, if you're living at a backpackers or a hostel or some other form of a shared house, start networking around and asking other people if they're working in the industry or they're trying to get into the industry, who to talk to, any leads that they may have, places they've started stopping by and talking to the HR and these sort of things. These will be great contacts and references to get, especially if you're talking to people that are actually currently working in the industry. If you're not, and they're just people that are trying to do it, they'll be in the same boat as you, or they might be a week or two ahead of you as well. So talk to anyone that's trying to get into the industry. You'll find probably a lot of people at these backpackers and things may also be trying to do what you're going to do as well. So if you can share any information there, definitely get in touch with anyone there, any references or any help that they may be. Definitely start making friends with these sort of people. Start jumping on Facebook groups as well. This is another good one. There's probably a number of different Facebook groups on, people trying to work FIFO and these sort of things. Definitely start jumping on those groups, see if there's anything going. So now you have your TFN, your bank account, your phone number, and all this other things. And now, if you already live in Australia, this should be fairly straightforward. You should already have this, but this is more for people that are coming over from overseas or wherever they may be coming from. These are things that you will need in order to apply for these jobs. So once you've got all that organized, do yourself a nice 1-page or 2-page resume. Keep it short and sharp. Right at the top, I've got this. I can work legally in Australia. I've got bank account. I've got phone number. I'm available as soon as you need me. Right at the top of the list there. So people, these HRs, they're getting inundated with people that are applying for these sort of jobs. So definitely, if you can keep it short and sharp and sweet, quick glance, okay, they've got everything, they've got their key things that they're looking for. They can see that within 10 seconds, you're already going to go into the next pile, okay? So definitely keep it short and sharp. Now, if it was me, I would start going around and starting to talk to these different HR officers in Perth, in person. Doesn't take, you can drop in 5-10 minutes, hey, g'day, I'm here just seeing if there's any any entry-level jobs coming up. Thought I'd drop my resume off. Please let me know if there's anything that comes up. Keep me top of mind sort of thing. They put a name to a face. Go in there looking sharp, put a nice shirt on, put pants, shoes, whatever. Keep it looking, don't go in there all scruffy and looking all rough as guts. Try and go in there. It doesn't have to be a shirt, but just go in there, happy. Just say, look, I know you're probably pretty busy, but I thought I'd just drop my resume off. Let me know if there's anything that comes up. Generally, they may have a quick glance at your thing there. They might even give you some insight. Oh, yeah, we're not currently looking, but next month or something like that. So it's all great insight. If you can grab a number or an email of someone there, also great as well. So then you can follow up, 2-3 days down the line. Hey, just touching base. Has anything come up? Or have you had a chance to look at my resume or anything? Please don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm available to fly out whenever need be. Now, I'd do this. I'd spend days doing this, just dropping by. You don't have to do probably 4 or 5 offices in a day, but don't annoy them. You just go in, say good day, drop your resume off. If you do this, 15, 20 times, there's a good chance you'll probably start getting some good positive response back from at least 1 or 2 of these sort of people. Depends if they're looking for employers at that time. I know if it was me and I was working in HR and someone come in, they look like they're ready to go. They're happy, they've got their resume, they've got everything in line, their tickets and everything. They've got their working rights, everything they can do. I know I'd be favouring them over some one that's just applied online via ChatGPT, you know, filled in the form sort of thing. So that's what I personally think, but it's totally up to you. I mean, you can do both, do apply online and also apply in person. I think applying in person probably goes a long way as well. So definitely don't be afraid. I know a lot of the younger generation don't really want to talk or anything, but definitely get in there. Don't be afraid. Like, jump on there, start talking to HR. Look, if you're keen, you're going to have to put some work in. I get a few people asking all my questions, oh, get me a job, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to put some effort in here. Roll those sleeves up, get that resume looking good. ChatGPT can do the heavy lifting on your resume these days. Get it short and sharp. You could have a basic 1-page resume and then maybe a 2-3-page resume with your experience and references and all these different things. Let's say we're at week 4 now. Hopefully you've got your name out there, you've got a few references, you've got maybe getting a few leads to follow up on. Keep following up on those. Now, let's say you land that, you know, a job interview. Great, fantastic. Now be ready to go. Rock in there, you know, 15 minutes before the interview starts, looking sharp, ready to go. Take your resume with you. Anything else that you think you may need, any certificates that you've already recently got or whatever, take all that with you so it's all there ready to go. Take all your bank account details, your super information, everything else. So quite often they'll start you filling in the paperwork right there and then if you get the job. They might take a day or two to get back to you, but take it all in with you just in case they ask for it. You've got it all ready to go. Have your phone that works and be available to pick up as soon as they ring. You know, sometimes they might ring, no answer, they'll move on to the next person, okay? So be ready to rock if they ring you up. Now, once you land that job, there's gonna be a few things that are gonna have to happen here. So they'll size you up for PPE, so uniforms, hard hats, high vis, all the show. This will generally take place after you've had a medical. So don't worry about doing a medical yourself. Generally, the companies will put you through some sort of a medical, a little bit of physical. A big one of it is drug and alcohol testing screening. So I'm not going to here to judge or anything, but be clean when you're going for these screening tests. Don't be having big nights out the night before. Go in, you know, if you're serious about this job, you're going to have to be clean. Okay, so yeah, you can obviously have a few beers and things like that. I'm not saying you have to be a nun, but you know, don't go into these things, you know, pissed or had a big night out or whatever. Go in there ready to go for these drug and alcohol screening. This is the big one, okay? If you come back positive for anything in your system, you're done. And it generally follows you around the industry as well, okay? I've known mates that are blowing numbers, especially when you get to site and things and they've been run off that day or whatever, you know, they're flying out to site, they do a random drug test, get pulled for something in the system, that's you're done. Especially if that company and the other companies may talk as well. So definitely, like, if you're serious about this, you know, kick any of those bad habits you might have. Like, this is a bit of a serious note here. If you want to get into the industry, definitely gonna have to be clean going into it, okay? So if you get an offer, look, it might not be the dream offer, but it's a foot in the door, okay? Hopefully you get through all that, your medical screening and all that. Accept that first offer, especially if it's looking okay and you know you're happy with it somewhat. It might not be the dream roster or your dream job, but it will get your foot in the door, and from there you've gained some of that crucial experience that you'll need in order to leapfrog into other jobs or industries or whatever within the mining sector itself. So take the first job. Once you're there, get the swing of things, do a few hitches, start networking at site, start talking to other people on site. Look, I'm looking to get into this, what tickets should I get? Start asking around. Once you've spent, I don't know, 2-3 hitches up at site, if you're asking around, sort of talking to other people on site, how long you been here for, what have you been doing, different sort of things, and you can take that information and start putting it into different areas where you may be looking at going yourself. But yeah, get that first offer, great, well done, you put the hard yards in, you've got that first offer, go to site, be there ready to go, put your best foot forward those first hitch or two. So everyone's, oh, this guy's good, you know, don't mucking around. Try and stay away from the bar. You don't want to be one of the guys down the bar causing trouble or whatever. Go down there for a beer or two. Don't go down there for 17 beers. These are the exact steps that I took in order to get in the industry. I'm no longer working in the mining industry. I haven't been doing it for a few years now. Now we run a winter tourism business in Miyako, Japan. I've made a few videos around that if you're interested in that. But these were the steps I took 10 odd years ago to get into the industry. So hopefully you got some value from it. If you're interested in what we're doing in Japan, definitely check out some of our videos about Japan and how I took the money I earned in FIFO and put that into a business in Japan. Now, this is what worked for me 10 years ago, and I'm sure it will still work today. So I know I get a few people, oh, can you hire me? Or, you know, who do I talk to? And these sort of things. You don't need to buy courses or buy checklists or anything like this. If you do go through these steps, you'll be well ahead of anyone else in the pack. You're going to have to put some effort in. You're going to have to roll those sleeves up and give it a go. It doesn't come to you easy, but it is fairly straightforward to land a job in the mines, I feel, if you're willing to put a bit of work in. Doesn't take much to be ahead of the pack. If you just do some of these things that I've gone through in this video, you'll put yourself ahead of the pack. If you got any questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. I'll try and do my best to get back to you. It also helps form other videos if I get a lot of questions around the same sort of stuff. So, till next time, we'll catch you in the next one.